All right, and welcome back to Real Talk Sports with Rico. Today, we're talking about the top headlines here in the NFL. Week 13, it was wild. We had the Thursday games with Thanksgiving. And so let's go ahead and start off with the Bears and the Lions. And so this was a tough one for the Bears. And I think essentially this led to their head coach being fired. Caleb Williams had a very good second half, mainly that third and fourth quarter. He got hot, 20 of 39, 256. He had 3 touchdowns. But what is talked about in this football game is going to be the fact that the Bears had a chance to kick a field goal that perhaps could have tied the game. Maybe they could have even scored, but the clock management was absolutely terrible. The Bears end up losing. Tough game to lose for the Bears, and the Lions continue on as they extend their win streak to 10 games and hold off the Bears. Next up, the next game that was played here on Thursday was the Cowboys versus the Giants. And so this game was a game where the Cowboys, I think, eventually just took control of this one, 27-20 in this one. Cooper Rush gets it done for the Dallas Cowboys. And then they had some great contributions with the running game with Dowdle. He had 22 carries and 112 yards and a touchdown there. So getting it done. The Giants, man, they look pretty terrible as they're 2-10, Cowboys 5-7. Next up, the Dolphins and the Packers. And so it continues. The cold weather football for the Dolphins, it is tough for them to win out there. It was tough to win against the Packers on the road. It was the weather conditions were not favorable for the Dolphins out there. This was all about the Packers throughout this game. Very good game, I think, from Jordan Love. And just this offense continues to get on track. I think that this is going to be an interesting division between the Lions and the Packers. So they get it done 9-3. They're 5-2 at home. Very important there. So next up, the Friday game. So we had the Raiders and the Chiefs. This might have been one of the best games, I think, with the holiday games and such for the NFL, and that was the Chiefs versus the Raiders. And so with the Chiefs, again, they squeak it out, 11-1 now, 6-0 at home. This was a game where the Raiders, they maybe had a chance to win this game with a field goal. It was a fumbled snap that really cost this team the game, I think, for the most part, because yes, you can always look at this game and say there were several plays in the game which really could have cost them. But it came down to where, O'Connell, he fumbled the snap, and that essentially could have been the drive where they kicked the game-winning field goal. And so the luck stays with the Chiefs as they get it done. They're now 11-1. And so next up, starting with our Sunday game, so we had the Chargers and the Falcons. I think the story out of this game is that Kirk Cousins was just not very good. Okay, 4 INTs, so not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 INTs for Kirk Cousins, and the Chargers defense really gets it done. I think that that's the story here, 17-13 in that one. Steelers Bengals, and so this is if you're a Bengals fan, this just shows you just how tough a season it is for you, because I think Joe Burrow, he did his thing in this game. He threw, for a ton of yards, and they still end up losing, just cannot get the stops that they need. Russell Wilson continues to cook out there, had a 414 yards on the day with 3 touchdowns, and the Steelers get it done, 9-3, 5-2 away at this point in time, and that's a tough one for the Bengals. I think that right now, currently, they have a 5% chance to make the playoffs, but at this point in time, with the way that this team has played, I think you can maybe chalk them up. So next up, the Vikings and the Cardinals. And so this came down to the last drive for the Vikings to get this one done. Kyler Murray threw some interceptions in this one, and that's essentially what cost the Arizona Cardinals. But it was a pretty good football game, but 23-22, 10-2 for the Vikings, as they're going to make it interesting in that division. Next up, the Colts and the Patriots. And so the Colts get a late game drive from Anthony Richardson. I think that is the key there. He was pretty clutch in that drive. But the Patriots had this game. If they could have stayed on the field, maybe, but the Colts get it back. Look, they're still alive in the division. They're 6-7, a big win here. And I think that most importantly, the Colts are going back to Anthony Richardson. And now, can he now capitalize off this performance and really just continue on this momentum as a starter? Next up, Seahawks and Jets. And so this was an ugly one for the Jets. I mean, they had a point in time where they could have gone up, I think, 28-7, if I'm not mistaken. And then Aaron Rodgers throws a pick 6. And I think that after that just pretty much, it turned the game around. So the Seahawks eventually end up getting the win, 26-21. And I think that this is a tough one for the Jets at home. You needed this one. I think that this could have maybe saved them from having a losing season. But at this point, 3-9, a lot of questions with the Jets here. But the Seahawks get it done 7-5. Next up, the Commanders. They are back to winning football. Is now they had lost 3 straight games. They get this game here to end the 3-game slide. And the Commanders, they were all over the Titans here. You see the 21-0 in the first quarter. And so they were able to do anything they wanted to, especially running the football. Brian Robinson Jr. did a great job there. Terry McLaurin continues to have a good year. 8 receptions, 73 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Jaden Daniels continues to set rookie records here. And I think clearly, as he continues to play, you might want to go ahead and put him down as the rookie of the year because he's doing a great job for the Washington Commanders. So huge win. They're 8-5. Big one for the Commanders to get back on. Next up, the Texans and the Jaguars. And so the Texans get a win. They needed this. They're 8-5 over the Jaguars. This was a tough game because the Jags fought them all the way. I think probably the story of this one is that Trevor Lawrence gets knocked out of the game due to a concussion. And there, is a huge fight in this game. And I thought that was probably the biggest takeaway from this. But the Jags did, really compete in this. The Texans, it was a little scary. I know it's a divisional game, but these are games that you would expect for the Texans to take care of by a larger amount. But still, they get the win. Hopefully, they can get back on track. And so next up, Rams and Saints. If you were looking for a lot of scoring in this game, it didn't necessarily happen until the fourth quarter. The Rams get it done. They're now 6-6 after a tough start to the season. They are gaining some momentum. And so they're right there with Seattle, who is 7-5. And so 6-6 for them. The Saints continue to slide now to 4-8. Next up, it takes overtime for the Buccaneers to get it done against the Panthers. And so, look, I think that the biggest takeaway from this is Bryce Young. I think that Bryce Young is showing us that his time on the bench, he's gotten a lot better. I think that Bryce Young has shown me that he can certainly be a quarterback in this league, and I hope he gets that opportunity moving forward. And I think he did everything he could to put this team in position to win the game. But the Bucs just took care of business. Mainly, it is Bucky Irvin who continues to play well for the Buccaneers in his backfield. 25 carries, 152 yards, and a touchdown for him. Next up, Eagles and Ravens. And so this game was really a big one on the day because you had 2 of the best running backs in all of the NFL playing against each other with Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry. I think it's clear that Saquon Barkley had the better day. He had a huge fourth quarter run that secured this game for the Eagles. 23 carries, 107 yards, and a touchdown. There really wasn't very much scoring until about that fourth quarter. And the Eagles really couldn't get anything going. I think at one point in the second half, they might have had like 5 yards or something like that. But Lamar Jackson, that offense, they just couldn't get anything going and really sustain drives and get some scoring done in this one. And Derrick Henry, he had a tough game too. I think, he still had 80 plus yards, but considerably speaking to what he's been doing, I think it was like a slower day for him. So next up, the 49ers and the Bills. And so look, the Bills, they came to play football. The 49ers did not come to play football. You could just tell that from the beginning of the game that the Bills were just locked in and they were there to win that game. And I think just the 49ers, it didn't look good from the start, and then it got really ugly once, you had McCaffrey go down, and it looks like that might be a season injury or season-ending injury with the knee. And so it doesn't get any better for the 49ers. A tough one to lose that, in that snow out there against the Buffalo Bills. But a great day for the Buffalo Bills. Look, 10-2. That was huge to see what Josh Allen, he caught the ball off the lateral from Amari Cooper. So, I mean, look, they were doing anything that they wanted to in this game. And so 35-10, the Bills win. And if you would have told me that they were going to be the top of this division going into this year, I just would not think that, especially with all the changes that they had from the wide receiver standpoint. So you really have to give the Bills a lot of credit. And so next up, the game on Monday here that we got coming up, the Browns and the Broncos. And so I like initially the Broncos. I think maybe this is the first time I picked the Broncos this year, but Bo Nix has been very impressive. Yeah, he's not playing like a rookie quarterback. That's for sure. So they got one with Bo Nix. He's doing a great job for them. And defensively, Denver has been a lot better than what they were a season ago. And so these Browns, they're coming into this game. They've been struggling. We know, how it's been going as far as, getting players back with Nick Chubb. They've got, they had the quarterback change and everything else. And so, look, I like the Broncos in this one at home. I think that it's going to be tough for the Browns. They don't necessarily have their primary receiver today knocked out of the game last week due to a concussion. I don't think he can clear it. He didn't clear it this week. And so, yeah, I think that this is all about the Broncos in this game. And so let me know in the comments what you are thinking about, all these games here in week 13 as we get ready for the stretch run of the NFL. You can catch us on Spotify. You can catch us on YouTube as well. This is Real Talk Sports with Rico, and I'll see you on the next one. All right. Peace.